Well, good evening. I'm live and it's Wednesday night. And so I hope everybody is staying warm and they're doing well. We still have snow on the ground, not much melted. Our streets out here where I live are still covered. And so I worked from home today, which I'm grateful I can do that because I don't need to be getting out in it. And I can drive in it. I drove in it for years. I don't have to now, so I'm not going to. And so I've just stayed home and did telehealth. It's called telehealth. So makes it kind of nice. I had a couple of clients that really wanted face to face, so they canceled. But I don't know. The main streets I think are getting pretty clear. Of course, they sand those and grade those, but we don't have enough equipment in where I live in Texas to grade all the roads. So they're still pretty bad out there. It's not quite as cold. I think it got up to 40 degrees today, so that's warmer. Hello, Debbie. How are you doing? And Sandra's here. She's just getting on. What happened? Nothing. I've just been talking about the weather. Hi, Cheryl. So I know that Cheryl didn't get snow. What's the temperature in Florida, Cheryl? You're pretty far down, so I don't know if it's seasonally cooler, but I was just saying that our roads are still covered. We've gotten above freezing for the last 2 days, but it did not melt much. Hi, Paula. How are you this evening? You still doing all your challenges? I worked out today, so I thought of you. I was doing my, 30 on Saturday. I know the next little front, what do they call it? They're calling it a cyclone something. It's oh, hi Lori. I hopped in. I saw the last little bit of the live you were on. Mike talked about it on DJ Outdoors. So I just caught the last part of that. So, but our street's still covered, curb to curb. It just a sheet of ice. So it's going to take it a little bit to melt all that, and so how's everybody doing? Hi, Pam. I'm glad you're here, Pam. I'm going to talk about you tonight. I'm going to talk about that little video you did because I called this How Do We Gain Wisdom? But everyone I know, Lori, came through okay without, I know a few people that lost power. I know that in between here and the Metroplex, or around the Metroplex, there was a lot of, because my husband got called out. He works for the gas company, and there was some, I don't know, problems with the gas. Not all the way in Dallas, but a suburb of Dallas, and he didn't even get there because there was a big accident. 3 semis and some cars got all tangled up, and they had traffic blocked, and he sat there a little over an hour, and he was only about 45 minutes out, which it took him, I don't know, 2 hours to get there, and it was pretty bad. So, hi, Kimberly. So, you're getting ready for bed. I understand that in this cold weather and all this snow, and want to get in the bed and watch TV and under the warm blankets. So, well, I picked this topic because of a video I watched that Pam did at, oh, what's your channel's name, Pam? Where are you? This is Pam. And did you change your name? Anyway, she did a video. I want to get the name of it right. It says, it was so cute. Grow old but not wise was the thumbnail. And then it was 5 ways to grow older without getting wiser. And she went at it from the angle of what not to do if you don't want to get wise. And I thought it was really cute. And I kind of jotted down some points of, what it takes to grow wise as you get older. And I know that a lot of times, and I certainly dealt with this a lot working in the field of addiction. I worked in a residential center. We did inpatient treatment for people that had drug and alcohol problems, and so they stayed at the center where I worked. And the thing about addiction is wherever they start using, they stop growing emotionally. And so they're in that category of they might be older, but they're not real wise because they stopped growing emotionally. And so Pam says, no, I haven't. I need to figure out a better handle that goes with whatever it is I'm doing. You're doing Pam. This is Pam is great. Because aren't you just doing Pam? Hi, Miss M. Glad you're here. So that's what kind of pegged this topic because it takes some self-reflection to gain wisdom. And the first point is that she talked about was don't listen, think you know everything. Thought that was pretty funny. Oh, so if you want to get wise, you need to listen. And I know today that I don't know. I don't know a lot. Seems like the older I get, the less I know. I realize that, man, I just don't know. And I thought that was pretty funny. The number 2 thing she talked about was not to learn from your mistakes. So, of course, you learn from your mistakes. And I can remember it's been years ago. Some of you know that I was in I'm in a 12-step program called Al-Anon, and it's for friends and families of alcoholics. And in that program, we sponsor people. So I had this lady I was sponsoring. It's a lot like coaching, and she looked at me one day and she said, "I just want to get wise like you. How do I get wise?" And I looked at her and told her, "You make a lot of mistakes." Because that's how I got wise. I made the mistakes. And I love the quote is, my mistakes are opportunities to learn the wisdom to know the difference. But then that goes back to learn from your mistakes. You can make mistakes, but if you don't learn from them, and you don't take responsibility for them, then, you're not going to grow emotionally and gain wisdom. Oh, so that was number 3. Take responsibility for behavior, thoughts, and feelings. For my own, I have to take responsibility, and stop blaming other people and that sort of thing. But the way Pam did it, it was just I thought it was just really good because it was like doing just the opposite of what you need to do to gain wisdom. So everyone's saying hi to each other. And spouse wife went to go say her prayers, said she'd be right back. So it's been a little better this week. I been dealing with some high anxiety over all this weather stuff. I actually got out a little bit in the snow. I did a walk and talk in the snow and talked about anxiety. And so I've been working on editing that video, and it even has a blooper in it at the end, and then some footage of my dog doing the zoomies in the snow. She's just going nuts out there in the snow, running around. Hello, Dora. How are you? I think Dora's kind of dealing with some anxiety herself, just being misplaced like you are with your having your house worked on is stressful. And then your poor chicken's sick. So you're working. Miss M said, I got hit with the snowstorm. Thankfully, the power didn't go out. Isn't that the truth? We had one pipe freeze. We have this, we're going to have to insulate it or something. Even though we didn't lose power or heat, we have this one pipe in my laundry room that freezes. So we have a little, it looks like a little radiator and it heats up. So we had to pull out the washer and put that back there to try to heat that up. It did thaw out and it didn't bust or anything. So Pam said it would be very easy to be anxious with the weather you're dealing with, very stressful. It has been, and of course, I've dealt with anxiety most of my life, and I've learned, coping skills that I don't much anymore. Every once in a while, normal stressors of life, but it got kicked up, and I just couldn't seem to um, get it under control. It was just this anxiety about losing power and all the pipes freezing, and so Dora said, you nailed it. I think I'm going to the toilet heaps because I'm anxious about this and that. Yeah. And I used to have this thing about anxiety and about life situations and how much of a percentage it caused anxiety. And, a remodel or being misplaced like you are is a high stressor, real high stressor. And a lot of people don't realize it. If you remodel your house and you don't have a kitchen or you don't have a bathroom or some of those things, it kind of puts you in that state of stress. And then you add dealing with your poor chicken being sick, yeah. Dora said, sorry you guys are dealing with stress over the weather. Allison said she can't leave the house. I haven't left the house. Our street out front is still a solid sheet of, like, it sleeted about an inch, and then it snowed about 3 or 4 inches on top of that. Got all packed down, and then because the temperatures were so low, it just froze into this solid sheet of just packed stuff. And it hadn't even gotten slushy yet. And we've had 2 days above freezing. So it's, yeah. Everyone's sending Dora hugs. We need to pray for Miss Dora and pray for her little chicken. And so, says, I've just upped hydrolytes in my water to help also. Is that with the chicken, Dora? She said, thanks, hugs received. Rebounding with Cheryl said, yep, I think we've all dealt with anxiety at one time or another. We do. Kimberly's back. Did you pray for all of us, Kimberly? We all need prayers. So Dora's asking Debbie Sue, you're still okay at your place? And Debbie Sue said, yes, Dora. So Dora said, no, that's for me. Oh, for you, hydrolytes in your water. Oh, you're talking about putting, in your water. So, yeah, like I said, it's living in a camper, and trying to get ready for work and keeping your routine. And I can really, I would be stressed. I would be, yeah. Kimberly says, I pray during the day for y'all. Thank you. I think that, a lot of us, knowing the weather situation and all of that, um, prayers. Rebounding with Cheryl said, I think of the scripture in Philippians. Where'd it go? She pulled it back. She's going to rewrite it. Pray without ceasing, and the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. I think about those. And then, when two or three together in prayer, that's where I am, Oh, that's your fave verse? I didn't get it. I just know which one did I say. I think there's two of them. Pray without ceasing. And then the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Hi, Evie. How are you doing? Y'all still snowed in? Dora said, good Debbie Sue, can we all pray for Susan also? Keep her hill safe from bushfires. Yes, Susan lives in Australia. She's north of you, and Dora? I watched her live the other day, and the temperatures are really, really high. Then you add high winds, and it dries out, and then the fires. And if, so be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God which pass all understanding. So, yeah, that's a great scripture. Which one is that? I've got it. I have scripture cards. Philippians 4, 6 through 8 is the reference for that scripture. And, she's south of you in Victoria. Okay. We'll pray for her. So the snow's melting heavy. We're still like just packed in. Nothing's melted out here where I'm at. So, all right. Dora said, thanks everyone. I got to go back to working. Stay safe and well, everyone. So Kimberly said, in Sally's legs, she needs prayers too. Yes. Sally needs our prayers for her legs. So the snow isn't melting at my house. I know you're up north, Miss M. I bet y'all do have. Was it really, Evie? I watched your little bird painting. It's cute with her little purse and her necklace. So you live in Indiana. Yeah. Paula said snow melted here too. More in forecast for Friday. Debbie Sue said, I love that video today, Evie. Yeah. She was talking about whether to speed it up and put it to music or her talking. And I liked both of them when she's painting in the music, and it's a very relaxing, but then I like her words of wisdom when she's painting and her thoughts. So, anyway, are you going to get more snow, Debbie Sue? And that storm is real far south, so a lot of Florida is going to be cold. Like Cheryl said, it's supposed to get down to 30 degrees, and she lives pretty south, a little north of Miami, but she lives pretty south. I have a friend that lives in the same town that Cheryl lives in, longtime best friend. She lives down there. I was there, I can't tell you how many years ago. She got married 7 years ago. I was there. I need to go back. Then I could meet up with Cheryl. We could bounce around. So, Debbie Sue said, yes, they're saying we're going to get more snow and really cold weather. I think I will have to cancel my doctor appointment for Monday. It is 4 hours away. Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah. Travel. It's just so dangerous. Like I said, they called my husband out, and it was a 2-hour drive where he was going. and it took him, it takes about twice the time to get there in conditions like what we had. And going southeast of here, there was more ice than it didn't sleet. It had freezing rain and then snow, and so there was a lot more ice. And so yeah, but you just have to reschedule it. This, definitely the weather. It's it's a pretty hard winter this year. I don't remember it was getting any frozen precipitation last year, but my husband said we did. We did. So, but it wasn't anything like this. Might have just usually here it'll come up a little snowstorm and it'll snow one day, and then the next day it starts to melt. But it hasn't melted. It's melted off the tops of the houses. And so there's two other bullet points that Pam made. And I wrote the opposite. She talked about you gain wisdom by arguing, or you don't gain wisdom. So I put, don't show up for every argument you're invited to. The wiser you get, the less you show up for those. And then the fifth one is gain new experiences and new perspectives. Always learning. And of course, her video, y'all go watch it. It's kind of cute. Is about if you, what is it, 5 ways to grow older without getting wiser. I really thought it was cute. So, but Miss Pam's pretty wise for her age. I just have to say that. I know that often as we get older, we just gain wisdom from our experiences, and like I said, I gained a lot of my experiences from making a lot of mistakes, bad choices, mistakes, but I did learn from them. Yeah, I learned that, Paula, a long time ago in recovery. Don't show up to every argument you're invited to. I should probably do a thing about, we call them the slogans that aren't the slogans. Pam said, "Oh, Rhonda, thank you so much. I'm glad you enjoyed the video." I did. I enjoy your videos. But that one really, I thought to me, it was kind of a satire, or, kind of that, because it was the opposite. Paula said, "I need to just stop showing up for arguments." Yeah. There was this one lady that used to say, I love, this is my favorite type of thing like that is, they can't get your goat if they don't know where it's tied up. I used to love that because it was like, oh my goodness. Oh, but yeah, don't show up at, every argument you're invited to. Another one is, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? I did a video on that. So, isn't that funny, Pam? They can't get your goat. They don't know where it's tied up. So, I think that's a lot of it. A lot of people that pester you to get a reaction out of you, they know where your goat's tied up. So it's like, and then they peck at you and you react. And when you stop reacting, they stop, pestering you. So Evie said, with age comes wisdom, but sometimes age comes alone. Oscar Wilde. Wow, that's good. That's what her video was about, Evie. It was grow old but not wise, and then that was her thumbnail, and then it was 5 ways to grow older without getting wiser, and it was just all the opposite of what I talked about, and so it happens. I mean, but often, like I was saying with addiction, wherever they start using, it kicks in survival mode and they don't grow emotionally. So they don't grow up or they don't gain wisdom. And that happens, a lot of times with trauma. And wherever the trauma happened interrupts that emotional growth, and they stay kind of stuck in survival mode. So Cheryl said, God gives wisdom liberally, but we have to ask for it. Yeah, pray for wisdom. I did at church, it's been a long time ago too, spiritual gift, where you take the test and it tells you what spiritual gift. And my spiritual gift is wisdom. It's my strongest gift. The close runner up after that was exhortation. I thought, I didn't believe the wisdom one because, I thought, man, all I did was screw up my life. So I didn't see myself as any wisdom. But like I said, my mistakes are opportunities to learn the wisdom, to know the difference. But, that exhortation, it was like, well, that's about right. I'd get one that I don't even know what it is. I did a video about that too, because my name of my channel is part of my spiritual gift. Entreaty, to call upon another urgently with comfort care. And it's, it's kind of like to exhort to, I don't know. I agree, Cheryl. I believe it or not. Okay, Lori, if you're still listening, I'm mad at Lori. She's got me decluttering. Oh, and I've cleaned out. I've been cleaning out papers and stuff in my office. Shredded some stuff today in between because I had, I stayed at home, worked from home, and I'd see a client, and then I'd have a block of time where one of them canceled, and I ran across that test today, and stuck it down here. Anyway, all right, let's see. Pam said it makes sense of some of the things I'm seeing in my extended family and also makes me more compassionate. Yeah, that's I think that's some people just don't grow emotionally. Their emotions get stunted for some reason and they don't. So Cheryl said, yes, Pam. Evie said, the drugs that my daughter used really made a difference in how she could cope with life. She got older, but not wiser. I don't mean that awful. It was true. Yeah, I don't think you were here when I first talked about, I worked in the addiction field, as you know, Evie, for years. And what happens is when they start using drugs, that disease they kick in, it has to survive, and it stops any frontal lobe growth or any emotional growth. It just stops it, and they are stuck there. We used to joke about, um, it was like junior high, because so many of our people that we treated started using when they were like 13 or 14 years old, and so that interrupts the emotional growth. So it was junior high. So, but I know that being around people that are in recovery, that they do begin to gain that and grow emotionally and get wise. So Miss M said, even though I am 29, I'm still working on my wisdom and growth. Yeah, and it's a lifelong thing. I'm sure that, even though I'm 72, there's some wisdom I will still gain, because, you think you get about 65 and you think, wow, okay, I'm 65, Medicare age, or whatever you want to call it. And, I have arrived, and I've learned a lot since I turned 65. I've learned a lot in the last almost 3 years since I retired about myself, about, limitations I still have, fears I still have, stuff I still struggle with. It is never over. I have not arrived. So, and the thing, Miss M, is that, you know, uh, our frontal lobe that gives us emotional maturity and, um, problem solving and some of that's the wisdom part. It's not fully developed until people are about 25 years old. So, you know, you look at that, it's 29 is not that old at all. To me, Pam's a whippersnapper. So I had a hair client that was 94 years old, and I was, in my 50s doing her hair. She called me a whippersnapper. So I understand that now. Oh, so Lori's back. Did you hear me say I was mad at you, Lori? You got me decluttering everything. So, uh, everyone's saying hello to Evie said yes, and the frontal lobe, spelling it caused her to make bad and dangerous decisions. It does. Actually, it's and it's not the Abdullah. I'm glad, whatever those big brain words. I call it the lizard brain, and it is the part of your brain that runs on survival. And when they start using drugs, that kicks in, and that survival mode, it adapts and then it maladapts, and whatever it takes so that that disease can survive. And the description of a disease is um, a body reaction that can be described by signs and symptoms. And that disease, the signs and symptoms, is drug use, legal problems, racial relationship problems, and all of that sort of thing. And so those the tolerance that they can, they have to have more and more and more to gain the same amount of effect from what they're using. It's a sad disease. It really is. Evie said, I'm still learning and I mostly like it because I can choose what I learn. Yeah. Miss Sim said a whippersnapper. You're really a whippersnapper. I think Pam's, she's 51. So, yeah. So, spouse wife's back. Or she's saying hello, everyone, Infinity. There's Lori. She's still here. Miss M said, I'm still working on keeping my emotions in check, and to whatever I snap at, I sincerely apologize. I defend myself way too much, and I need to back off just a tad on that. Yeah, that was another thing I learned, that I don't have to defend or explain myself to anyone. And I like what Vaughn says, we need to be God pleasers and not people pleasers. And, that's important. So Evie said, it really helped me to learn this after I lost her. I understood she really couldn't help the situation she got herself into. It completely rewires the brain. It sure does, Evie. Mm-hmm. Sure does. Sandra said, absolutely not. Evie said, oh, Miss M, I used to do that a lot. Try a long pause before you respond. I had to do that. Yeah. I think that's, the pause. And, I learned it as you use the golf term par. And, if you feel that, if you say par to yourself and it stands for pause, ask, and remember, and it's pause, and then ask for guidance, and remember that I'm not running the show. So it's like it kind of gets me back into that, uh, I have no control over other people, but I have control over myself, and try not to react and respond instead, but that don't always work. Um, you know, Sometimes I have I call it a hissy fit. That's, Texas for flying off the handle or whatever you want to call it. But um, Kathleen, are you new here, Kathleen? We get wisdom through living life. That's true. We do. If you're willing to listen, learn from mistakes, take responsibility, don't show up to every argument you're invited to, and gain new experiences and new perspectives. Continue to learn. That's right. We live life and we learn. Miss M said, I need to continue on working on the long pause, Evie, and to ask God for guidance. Paula said, hi, Kathleen. Cheryl said, pause, ask, and remember. I'm not running the show. I like that, Rhonda. You pause, ask for guidance, and remember, I'm not running the show. God is. So, M, when you start doing that, you will be so proud of yourself. Yes, you will. M said, thank you for the advice, Evie. Evie's a wise woman. A wise woman. So, there's a lot of wise women in here, I think. So, I don't know if Mr. Mike's still here. He's double dipping. So, Justin is in the house. So, we have a man here now. Justin's from Australia, basking up the warm weather while we're freezing our rear ends off. So, everyone say hello to Justin. He remembered. I met Justin through Sally's Live, and he lives in Australia. So, good day, mate. So, Lori's saying hi to Justin. There's Mike. So, we've got two guys in the house. We have some wise guys. Are y'all wise guys in the house? So, Justin's saying hello, Miss M. Y'all are a couple of wise guys. So, everyone's saying hello to Mike. I love Mike's new dog. I had a dog just like that when I was a little girl. I want to tell you, Mike, that dog, she put up with some stuff for me. I would take that dog and I would put one of my doll's bonnets on her, and I would put her in my doll stroller. It had a little doll buggy. I would put her in that buggy and roll her up and down the street. She just hang her head out with that little doll bonnet on her head. She just, whatever. She was the greatest dog. I wanted to get another one, a Boston Terrier. My granny had one. Her dog had pups, so we got one. That's where my dog came from. Her name was Trixie, and she put up with some stuff from me. But I read up on them, and it talks about how hyper they are, and and then I got kind of into chocolate labs, and I've had several. Used to breed chocolate labs and sell them. So I love the pups. Watching your pups, it brings back some great memories of raising puppies. So everyone's saying hi to each other. Evie said, my best friend in 5th grade had a Boston Terrier with its own recliner in the living room. That's great. She was a great dog. So I'm gonna have to see how Mike does. Of course, his dog, you said she was 4 years old. It's a he, Paco, 4 years old. So maybe some of that has toned down a little bit. And I don't know. I had my husband rescued all these dogs, and the first dog we were together was part Chihuahua, part Jack Russell. That dog was so hyper, and he could jump, almost jump up to here on me. Of course, I'm not that tall, but you see the videos of the couch and the Jack Russells jumping way up. You can see the Jack Russell jumping behind the couch. It's so funny. And that's the way he was. He was so hyper. Oh, so he's 4. Yeah. So maybe, settle down a little bit. So anyway, on recliner in the living room. And then Evie said, I don't know. He is still sporting his bag of jewels. Oh, Evie said Jack Russells are circus dogs. I understand I'm picking up what you're putting down, Evie. He is. So my Chihuahua, that is the last of the 3 dogs, to go from having labs, and then my husband rescues these 3 dogs. One was a Jack Russell Chihuahua mix. The other one was a Dachshund Chihuahua mix. And the last one left, that's right down here, is a Chihuahua. So, and he's almost 16. I did a video of them out in the backyard, and Dinah, she's a Wilshire Terrier. She's a pretty thing, but she's had the zoomies bad since it snowed, and I've been trying to catch her in the backyard, doing her zoomies, and so I'm adding it to the tail end of the video I'm working on. So Justin said, "You're not that tall, Lady Rhonda." Well, I'm 5 foot 5.5 inches. Yeah. Well, I'm 5 foot, no inches. 5 foot nothing's what I always say. Evie's pretty tall. When we met in person, that's the first thing. You're tall. She said, well, you're short. So it was kind of like Mutt and Jeff. Oh, I always wanted to be tall, and then I finally just gave up wanting to be anything that I'm not. Just kind of self-acceptance. Evie's 5'8". I know you were tall. That's it's like Evie's someone I can look up to. This is right, Pam. You look real small, Pam. I've got big shoulders. I'm built like a football player. Big shoulders, and I have. You're 5'3", so Cheryl's 5'2". Yay! Evie's tall. You could go back to. I don't know if my video shows, but the day we went and met Allison and Karen in McKinney, I think that video kind of maybe us standing out in the parking lot, and it shows our heights or being, there's more. Her and I did put a video of Evie and and we're standing there, but I don't know if we're kind of on I might have been on top of the thing. Our camera kept blowing over outside. So Justin said, well, to compare you to a Ford Mustang engine, you are a 5.0 then. 5.0. So Pam said, I've always been really heavy for my height. It's my muscles and big brain, right? That's right, Pam. Muscles. Evie said, I made Rhonda hold my hand crossing the street. The cars couldn't see her. Well, yeah. Oh my gosh, that's funny, Evie. It's probably because I'm like gonna dart out in the street like a little kid. Oh, she had to hold my hand to keep me to act right. Oh, because I get to acting up anyway. I guess that's that sassy side that Mrs. G talks about. Uh, anyway, that was a good laugh. Justin said, to be sure, that was a compliment, Lady Rhonda. Okay, I'm a 5.0. Evie said, Rhonda always had so much wisdom and authority. And then I saw her, and she is child size. See, up sitting here with my broad shoulders, Wonder Woman. And then I show up, and I'm this, I'm fun size, Evie. Kind of like the candy bar, you get a Snickers, it's this big, and then you get the little bag of fun size, and they're like this. Missy M's laughing at us. Fun size. Uh, anyway, oh my goodness. I mean, what's one of my lives without us having a belly laugh? Oh, Mike says, LOL. Yeah, it's a belly laugh. So anyway, it was a fun day. Yeah, Evie was like, she was scared to meet me because she thought I was all prim and proper. Oh my goodness, she learned different real quick. Evie said, she's not. I'm not. I'm not prim and proper. Oh. I have a friend that tells me I have a telephone voice. And I think that's what comes through on my videos, is because, what topics are serious sometimes but Pam said, everything is getting to be fun size these days. I mistook a wagon wheel for an Oreo. Oh, Mike has number one crown. He must watch a lot of my stuff. Oh. Miss M says, you're absolutely right, Pam. It's Dr. Ninja is here. How are you this evening, Doc? Doc's my road name. Yeah, it's my road name. I have a cut. I call it a cut. It's a leather vest. It has my road name on it, Doc. They named me that because I'm a counselor. I don't have a doctorate. I don't have a PhD. PhD stands for pilot. Well, maybe I do. Pilot higher and deeper, but I don't have a PhD. I have a master's, but not a PhD. I had one of my mentors wanted me to go get my doctorate, and I was like, no, I don't want to be like that. There's the lady, I don't know what her name is, not Dr. Ruth, but she was an older lady, had gray curly hair, and she was on late night TV, and she would talk about sex, like sex education. And I thought, that's what it ended up with me, so I wasn't going to do that. Doc says he's late because he wasn't feeling 100%. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. So is Alabama supposed to get some snow? Paula said, Mike, I don't know, but I want that crown. Mike says, hi, Doc Ninja. Simply Debbie Sue. Oh, sorry you aren't feeling well, Dr. Ninja. Hi, Simply Debbie Sue. Ninja says, Mike said, I don't win. I forgot to shout out Rhonda's page when I was live earlier today. If you said, oh, I thought it was from Peter Rabbit. What was from Peter Rabbit? Uh-oh, I've missed something. So, Paula said, sorry. Okay. All right. Pam said, I don't know what you won, Mike, but it will probably come in the mail shortly. Paula said, Doc, sorry you're not feeling 100%. Fire with Dr. Ninja Turtle said, heading to the store for chicken soup. Miss M, I still don't understand the whole crown thing here on YouTube. Dr. Ruth was short too. She had red hair. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Simply Debbie Sue, sending prayers up for Dr. Ninja. Feel better soon. Yes. Evie said, man, that was a good show. Mike said, sorry you don't feel good, Ninja. Paula's doing all the crowns. Evie said, what's up, Doc? Oh, wait, wrong rabbit. Bugs Bunny. You're right, Evie. What's up, Doc? Pam said, I love how so many lives start and end with random thoughts. I know they take on a life of their own. I like to pick a topic. We talk about it a little bit, and then it just goes on its own. Justin said, sorry you're not feeling well, Dr. Ninja. I'm late because I was out taking a friend to do her grocery shopping. That was really nice of you. So, Miss M, I'll send some cookies in the mail to whoever has the number one crown. All right, let me explain about the crowns. It's my understanding that if you're a supporter on someone's channel, you watch their content, and you comment on their videos, and you get on their lives and you start sharing, then you get a crown. And you get the top three crowns. And so that's kind of how that works. Uh, Fire has the number two crown, but it has a lot to do with how much of their content they watch. Do we have a number three? Do we have a number three? Let me see who's number three. Let's see if I can. Oh, who has red hair? Redhead, double glazed. Dr. Ruth is who we were talking about. Pam said, I can't keep the topic train on the track, but that's the fun. Paula said, I'm in a 30-day no dessert challenge, so Mike can keep the crown this time. Easy enough, M said. Spouse wife, is it me? No. Cheryl said, I'll leave you with this because it's my bedtime. We are not what we know, but what we are willing to learn. So true, Cheryl. Thanks for the words of wisdom. Justin said, Paula, do you mean Dora and her koalas? And Pam's asking Paula how the challenge is going. Simply Debbie Sue said, love that, Cheryl. Miss M said, whoever has the number three crown, come on down. Let me look, top fans. Lori has the number three crown. So it has, and it does, it has something to do with how much content they watch of yours in the last so many days or whatever. And then they comment on here and then it shows up. So Lori has the number three crown. Yes, please hit the like button. I have 15 people here now. So, Callum, is that how you pronounce your name? Hello, welcome in. I think you're new here. We have another Pam. Is it Pamela Bell? Welcome, you're new. Paula's asking, Justin, somehow we had a whole poo live on Rhonda's channel a while back. We sure did. We sure did. So, Paula said, thanks, Pam. Evie said, the YouTuber I watched the most last year, I never got a crown on her lives. You didn't? I don't know how that works. I do know it has something to do with that, and then how many comments you make on here. So, Pamela Bell said, it's Pamela. Okay. She said, thank you. Lori said, interesting. This is Pam. So funny. I never met any Pams, and now on YouTube it seems like a popular name. Yeah. Miss M said, you're number 6 on the fan list. Paula says, hi to Pamela. Mike said, I don't know how the crown works either. Who knows? So Justin said, Paula, I remember that poo live. I came in late then too. Well, the poo part of that live, the poo live, it's Mike's fault. Mike started all of that. Oh, Mike said, I thought it went by comments, but tonight maybe it's not working. Paula said, I got no crown. I'll have to get a hat instead. Get you oh man, a determinator? Is that what it's called? What's it called, Paula? So, Paula, I'll send you a crown in the mail. This is Pam said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Mike's put up a bunch of toilets. We're getting into that again. I told Dora I wanted to know how come I didn't get a bag of koala poo in the mail for my birthday so I could use it for eucalyptus in my house. Mike did start that with his poo video. Well, Dora actually, that became a back and forth between Mike and Dora. The fascinator. That's what it is, what I call it. Dominator. The fascinator. Sandra said, crowns are probably fun. Yeah, Miss M's giving me poo symbols. Simply Debbie Sue says, I don't need a crown or hat. Just give me socks. My feet are froze. LOL. Somebody send her some socks. I'll send you some socks, Debbie Sue. Mike said, I left the comment and came back to see if the crown would go away, but it's still there. Sorry, Paula. He commented first. Maybe that's what it means. Justin said, what about Pam Ayers, the author and rhyming poet? Evie said, Debbie Sue, I have an electric throw on my feet on my bed this year. Yeah. My feet get cold, so I've been putting on, I don't know, wear my Uggs, my Ugg boots. I have a couple of pair of Ugg boots, so, and it keeps them warm, you know. So I have Ugg house shoes, but they don't keep them as warm as the Ugg boots. So my Ugg boots are old, but man, they're warm. So you turn it on an hour before you go to bed, Evie. Ooh, that sounds nice. We have an electric blanket, and it doesn't work like it used to, but I like that because I don't want it to get too hot. So Pam said, oh, Debbie Sue, I'm sorry you're cold. Debbie Sue said, that sounds great, Evie. Mike's got a bunch of hearts. I called it a Terminator. It's a fascinator. Mike said, look, crown is gone. I got rid of it. No, it's not. It's still there. Big warm ones, Rhonda. Okay. All right. I'll send you some big warm ones. What size shoe do you wear? He said, never mind. I came back. Big warm ones. Mrs. Paula said, I'm barefoot. Oh, Evie said, I read that socks are good for better sleep. I cannot sleep in socks. at all. Mike Adventure. Okay, I left the stream and cleared my phone out. Now we'll see who gets the first crown. You came back in in a different name. Miss Paula said, I can't stand socks in the house. So now Kathleen's here from Kathleen's place. The Kathleen I know. We had another Kathleen that was new. Debbie Sue said, Pam, we have fire in here, but I'm having problems with my legs and my feet are cold. LOL. Kathleen said, hi, Paula. Mike's got, I don't know who's got number one crown. I guess maybe, who did I say? Oh, Dr. Ninja has number 2 and Lori has number 3. So I don't know. Okay. Anyway, everyone's saying hi to Kathleen. Kimberly at Spouse Wife says, our AC is running all night. It's 42 degrees outside. Hubby is a human furnace. Well, I get that. So we turn our heat down lower at night because I can't. Paco's dad still has the number 1 crown. Oh. Miss M said, one day soon, Paula. Kelly's here. Hi, Kelly. She's saying hello to everyone. I need to watch your video about all the teachers quitting. So I work from home today. Mrs. G's here. Man, you've missed some shenanigans, Mrs. G. So Evie was telling me that she had to hold my hand across the street because I was this child person. Evie said, spouse wife, my hubby is a heater as well. When Debbie Sue saying hi to Mrs. G. Debbie Sue took the number 1 crown. This is Pam. I have to run, spend some time with my hubby who's been sick with the flu. Love to all. Oh, tell Dylan we'll pray for him and hope he gets better. So everyone's saying hi to each other because we got some new people here. Oh, we just hit an hour. Mrs. G just showed up. So she's late. You're late to the potty. Yeah, potty. We've been talking about poo again. But Debbie Sue said, anybody want to trade the crown for socks? She wants them socks to keep her feet warm. Bye, Pam. Miss Paula said, bye, Pam. Kathleen's, LOL, Debbie Sue. Debbie Sue got the crown. Well, you got the number 2 crown. Lori said, please remember to hit thumbs up. And I actually remembered this time. Thanks, Lori. Yeah. So Mrs. G's asking Evie how her weather is. Mike said, got no more crown. You lost the crown, Mike. So Mrs. G wants to know how the puppies are, Mike. They're so cute. Some of them have their eyes open. He did a live while ago, was showing them. Paula, you had just took over number 1. Debbie Sue's got number 2. So Lori just stole the number 2 crown. Now she's number 3. Paula's got number 1. You didn't even have to do anything, Paula. You just got it. Look at there. She says, Miss M, I got it. I got it. Mrs. G's putting in hearts. Uh-oh. Is the fight on for the crown? We're going to have a crown war here on my live. Yeah, those puppies are doing really, really good. They look healthy and they're fat and they're beginning to get their eyes open and they'll be everywhere here soon. everywhere. Maybe so, Evie. She says maybe the crown is to make us ask how and why. Miss M's going to be the referee in the war. You got a whistle, Miss M? You need to be blowing that whistle. I've seen some pretty hefty crown wars. Are the shields new? I heard they were going to change the blue coat thing to a shield instead of a wrench, but I'm still seeing wrenches on mine. Do you see shields, Kathleen? Evie said, good night all. See you next week. Okay, Evie, have a good evening. Oh, Justin said, I don't get a crown because I'm not a moderator. You see shields. That's funny. Mike, are you still pooping outside? He needs a fur-lined toilet seat if he's still going to be doing that. Pamela said, good night, Evie. Mike said, good night, Evie. Love your paintings. Miss G said she sees wrenches. Kelly saying hi to Justin. Paula said, I see a little blue box. They're shields. I don't understand. That's Debbie Sue. I've heard that they were going to change them to shields, but I still see wrenches. I still have wrenches. I guess I'm behind the times. The YouTube, whoever hasn't dealt out my new shields. So, I don't know. Justin saying hello to Kelly. Nice to see you, friend. Miss M says she sees wrenches. Yeah, I heard that, Mrs. G, that they were going to change them to shields, but all I see is wrenches. All right. There you go, Justin. There's your blue coat. You better be nice. I see stars. Miss M's got the #1 crown. She did it. She did it. Yay, Miss M's got the #1 crown. All right, guys. What have you been up to, Mrs. G? I hadn't seen you in a while. I've not hit your lives or something. I don't know. Missed you. Paula said, Miss M, go girl. Simply Debbie Sue said, Mrs. G, your favorite auntie. Yes, Dr. Ninja said he was going to the store to get soup. He isn't feeling well. I don't know how Miss M's special. That's why she got the crown. She's apologizing to Paula. Don't apologize. Take it, Miss M, and run. Paula had it for a minute. She did. Sandra said, guys, got to run. It was great listening in. Thank you, Sandra, for showing up. So, she does deserve a crown, doesn't she, Miss Paula? Oh, poor Doc. Yes. Pam said her husband had the flu. Doc said he's not feeling real well. So, you don't feel it, Justin? Oh, you don't feel blue, but you see blue. Okay, you got a blue coat, but you're not feeling blue. That's good. Okay, Miss M still has the #1 crown. Debbie Sue's #3. Take it and wear it, Paula said. Miss M, you wear it. Wear it proud. Yes, ma'am. Take it and run. Welcome to the Mod Club, Justin. Paula's glad you're not blue, Justin. Let's see. Let's add this one. So, the Mod Squad. Now, Miss M's now got a blue coat too. Probably everybody that comes to my lives gets a blue coat. Anyway. Oh. So are y'all supposed to get more weather, Mrs. G? Well, Mrs. G, you got to work for it. Yep. Miss M got it. She is. Miss M's got a blue coat and a crown. So, oh, Kathleen's going to go after her crown. Odd Mod Squad. We just keep getting the odd Mod Squad. Yeah, but they're mine and they're great. I think my community is fantastic, and I really appreciate all the support and the love and the encouragement and everything that all y'all give me. I really, really am grateful for the community. And okay, Miss Pamela said, I live in California and it's going to be low 80 tomorrow. Must be nice. I think it's going to be 20 something tonight. So, Paula's pulling her stunts. She's telling Kathleen, I hear your doorbell. So, anyway, Miss G said, here the weather's supposed to be colder, but no snow. We still have snow. Our ground's still covered. My street's still solid. Whatever it is, it's melted some off the houses. It got up to 40 degrees today, but it's all the snow is just like hard, crunchy stuff. It got frozen. So, Kathleen, the dogs need to pee. Let your dogs out, Kathleen. Oh, Mrs. G said, Paul, it's not going to work. Pamela, I live in Texas, north central Texas. I'm about 2 hours northwest of Dallas, Fort Worth. Mike said, we need snow. Miss M said, Crown Wars in the comments. Nope, Paula. Roll already took them out. Spouse wife is adding her snow and snowman. So, Paula, Kathleen, your hubby wants a salad. Don't you hear him calling you to the kitchen? Oh, y'all are too funny. Too funny. So, oh, you can see who all's been on your live. Huh. You learn something new every day. Keep on learning. That's one of those things on here about how to get wise. That's the only snow you're going to get down there. Where are you? Oh, did you look, Mrs. G? Where are you? Oh, you're number 15, Ms. Oh, goodness sakes. That's funny. Anyway, well, it's been an hour and 15 minutes. You're stuck at 9, Kathleen. You can. Yeah, when you're a blue coat. Let's see. How about another one? Okay. Now we got another blue coat. I'm just gonna make everybody blue coats. Oh, it doesn't mean I have to go yet? Well, then give me something to talk about, Mrs. G. You vote Kimberly. Paula said, Miss M, I'm working on it. We're still having fun, Rhonda. You can't go. Hey, I need the watch time. I have, well, earlier today I had 970 subscribers. And then, as always, I don't know, the algorithm does its thing or updates, and I lost 3 because sometimes people subscribe but they don't watch your content. Like they see you on a live like this, and they go over and subscribe, but then they don't go watch your content. And if they don't watch any content, YouTube drops the sub. So, Kathleen got a blue coat. She sure did. I gave her a blue coat. Everybody got a blue coat. So, might as well. Can't dance and it's too much snow to do anything else. So, might as well give everybody a blue coat, huh? Dole out them crowns. So, anyway, yeah, Pamela, that's what happens. And so I'm getting close to having 2,500 watch time hours. So, yes, I did, Justin. I saw that. Yes, Pamela, when you sub to somebody, be sure you watch some of their content so that it picks that up. Usually if I'm on a live, if I've got a blue jacket, you can click on their name and go to their channel. If not, I'll go up and type, write their name down and then check it out. I usually will watch some of their content, and then subscribe to their channel. So, up, spouse wife's number 1. Here we go. So, bye. Good night, Lori. Take your puppies out. Yeah, mine are. Well, they're not. I've got my door closed because my husband's got the TV on. And, oh, Pamela, you found me from watching a live from Dawn's. Right. Did she go live tonight? She kind of alluded that she might. Oh, you're giving them. You're so nice, Miss M. You're giving people a chance to get the number 1 crown. Kathleen said she needed to pick it up. Paula, you're already wearing it. Where'd Miss G go? Do you have a channel, Pamela? Oh, no, I didn't, Miss G. You want me to go over them again? You don't have to get all mad. Okay, Justin said, okay, Miss M96, or should I say, Pretty Tat Girl, gotta go. My Mod Squad people, see you next time. Okay. All right, Justin, have a good rest of your day. It's like Thursday noon there. You can't see my messages. Okay. How to be wise. Number 1, listen. Number 2, learn from your mistakes. Number 3, take responsibility for behaviors, thoughts, and feelings. Number 4, don't show up to every argument you're invited to. And number 5 is gain new experiences and new perspectives. Always learn. Did you write that down, Mrs. G? Gain new experiences and perspectives. You always learn. So, yep. All right, you go eat your lunch, Justin. Kimberly got her blue coat. Yeah, always learn. Listen, learn from mistakes. Don't show up to every argument you're invited to. And my other little tidbit of wisdom, Mrs. G, is, and Pamela, did you come in late? They can't get your goat if they don't know where it's tied up. So you'll have to watch the replay. Okay, you can watch the replay. I need all the watch time I can get. Yes, Kathleen, don't show up to every argument you're invited to. We get invited all the time. And then we were talking earlier about, Miss M was talking about, getting like reacting and going off or whatever. And we talked about pause, and I used the golf term par, and par means that you've the perfect number of golf strokes to get the ball in the hole. So if you think about par, it's pause, ask for guidance, and remember, I am no longer running the show, is what the PAR stands for. So that's a good little tool I've used. Do you ever talk about toxic parents, elderly parents? I have it on my channel. I've worked on content about talking about estrangement with, between family members and all of that. And it's because, I was the toxic parent, and I had to learn to take responsibility for the things that, my son's perspective of what happened in our house is his perspective, and I had to respect that. Whether I felt like that, there was reason for that or not, that's his perspective. And when I did that and could validate how he felt and his feelings, our relationship began to repair. But you're confused with the goat. Tied up my goat. Well, they can't get your goat if they don't know where it's tied up, Kathleen. And that means that, somebody can't push your buttons. Of course, yeah, but it also, you've heard of, well, they got my goat, which means they pushed your buttons. And I got to where I didn't say, somebody asked me one time, what are you doing with buttons? So that's wisdom concerning your son's perspective. And it was, but, I kind of had to get there. Maybe they don't have Get Your Goat in Canada. Maybe not. Get your chickens in a row. Ducks. Well, I always heard ducks, Miss M. Get your ducks in a row. And you know what I was told about that? They're not your ducks. They're God's ducks. So Oh, but yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen ducks fly, how they're in a perfect V. You know, God got them ducks in a row. I didn't, you know. It's kind of like herding cats. You just can't get them all where you need them to be. It's an old country hick saying. It's like, yeah, it's not a Canadian saying. Y'all got some strange sayings up there, eh? My friend that lives, my one of my best friends, she's my accountability partner. She lives in Canada. I went up there to see her, and the first night I was there, neighbors came over. We all sat out in the back, and they they gave me a ration of crap about the way I talked, and then I was telling them about their stuff, and they took all evening to teach me how to properly use the a, you know. So uh well, they can't get your goat if they don't know where it's tied up. Other words, if you don't show them your underbelly, they can't get at you. You know, I don't really know. I just know that in relation to, like someone that wants to provoke you, well, they're trying to get your goat, and so if you don't let them, then they don't know where it's tied up. But some people kind of know how to get at us because they want a reaction out of us. And if you don't react, they'll quit pestering you. So, Sue said, I've heard other sayings, but it isn't YouTube appropriate. Well, guess what, Miss M? So have I. Kathleen, I'm kind of a wordsmith, and I like those little uh, twangy quotes. I, they stick with me, knows the whole sentence, um, and that sort of thing. Really kind of helped me do some changing because I could remember those. And you're right, Kathleen. Our kids do know that, but if you don't show him where your goat's tied up, he won't get it. Oh, like I said, what are you doing with buttons? I had to put button covers on my buttons so people couldn't get at them. Oh, Mrs. G said my hubby knows. My husband, yeah, it's funny. Just, I mean, long term recovery for me, I've gotten to where I just don't react a lot. Um, if I'm tired or I got stuff going on, but it's if most of the time, if I can, a lot of it has to do with my um, where I'm at spiritually, So I try to start my day right so that I won't react and can respond. But um, he's one of those. He likes to pick at me, and I'll just. That's great, Mrs. G. You're right, Kathleen. That's true, but not always easy. I'm getting better sometimes. Yeah, it takes practice. It's the only way, practice, practice, practice. It's learned behavior. It's a habit of reacting. And so Mrs. G said this about her husband. He knows where goat is tied up because he follows me around and listens for the goat to go bah. Paula said, Mrs. G, tell Mister to leave your goat alone. Speaking of a goat, I've owned a goat, and it didn't go by. It went vroom vroom. My first husband had a 1966 GTO, and contrary to popular demand, he left it to my younger son when he died. And because of circumstances, and it needed some stuff taken care of, and it needed to be in this county, and my son was when all that stuff finally got figured out, he wasn't old enough, and so they had to put it in my name. My ex-husband probably flipped in his grave. So I owned a 1966 GTO for a little while. Well, for quite a while. My son came and got it not too long ago. 6 years ago. And so got it changed over, the title changed over from my name to his. So, oh, it was a sharp looking car. Oh, Yvonne's here. See, Kathleen, if your dad always reacted, then, that behavior was modeled. And so you pick that up, and you're programmed. You just get programmed. And it's real hard to break that programming. It takes practice and practice and practice. No, it was not a real goat. It was a GTO. They used to call them the goat. It was yeah. So, how are you this evening, Yvonne? Oh, yeah. And it's so many things, our habits. And a lot of it is, goat Hensley. What'd you say that stood for? Who said whatever? Goat? I know that it can mean like something else. Yeah, I am a Capricorn, and they're a goat. So, I have the coolest picture. I think my grandson's about 2 years old, and he's out in the driveway, and he's washing the GTO. That's so greatest of all time. I don't know about that. My friends call me the Rhonda Llama. And then we laugh about it. It's kind of like Evie said. Evie thought I was like prim and proper and all that. So she found out I'm not. She said, she's not. No, I'm not. But I do know that I do come across like that. But I'm not. I've been around the block. I know, Ms. G. Spicy M. Are you spicy, Miss M? Well, I'm sassy. So that's what Miss G says. I'm sassy. I got that southern sass going on. I can do my neck. She said, "You are not. You're sassy." I'm not prim and proper. I'm sassy. I am southern sass going on. I do have that southern sass. That's what my husband, when I first started doing YouTube, he said, I don't know. Your personality doesn't come out in those videos. I don't know what you're doing. It just doesn't come out. But it does come out on my lives because it's the interaction is some of it. I like interacting. That, I really struggled at first of just talking to the camera. I mean, I publicly spoke. I've done workshops. I taught group forever in the treatment center. I did all of that, and just no problem whatsoever. And you put me in front of this camera, and it was like, uh, all that stuff. Okay. That's Yvonne said that's how my daughter talks. Miss M said maybe it's sassy, not spicy. Nana said, and we're not from the South. Well, I am. I was raised in southern Oklahoma, about 73 miles from where I live now. When I lived overseas, man, they razzed me something fierce about the way I talked. Asked me if I was going to do something. No, I done been. And I thought they were going to print it in the little weekly newsletter. Rhonda's done been. So, like the frog on Bugs Bunny. I never saw no frog on Bugs Bunny. Miss M said, I love spicy food, so I'll keep it to spicy. Mrs. G. Rhonda, you were like the frog that could sing and dance, but would do it when the camera was on him. Oh. You were born in the Peach State, but lived in Indiana your whole life. I talk purdy. I know, purdy. No, I didn't see the frog. Miss Paula, everything has 2 syllables. He wouldn't dance on Bugs Bunny. I was around London. Is that Ontario? Yeah. I went up there. It's been 2 years, but it was in August. And I went to Niagara Falls. And it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. When I speak, I talk about Niagara Falls and standing on that little boat and watching that water come over and the power of that waterfalls and knowing that that was a natural, God-made phenomenon of nature. And just, I had a spiritual experience in that boat. It was like, that God could create something that powerful. And I forget that God has that much more power than that waterfall. I forget that. And yet that phenomenon of nature, because it's a natural, it's not man-made. God-made waterfall has that much power. It was just pounding, like you stand at the parade in the drum and it pounds in your heart. It was something to see. So, and she had to hold my hand like Abby did. Because she's dragging me because we're going to be late. And I just kept stopping to take pictures of that thing because we had the boat ride. So it was phenomenal. I would go back in a heartbeat, go back and see it again. I'm going to have to watch Bugs Bunny. All right, let's see. Everybody knows about the frog but me. Miss M said, I want to see the Canadian Rockies. Speaking of Canada, she just drugged me all over. We went up to Lake Erie, was it? To the beach and all kinds of stuff. The frog. Okay, Kimberly's telling me the frog sang, hello, my ragtime gal. Kathleen says, I've never been to the falls. I don't know. I'm a big nature girl, Now, see, this is another thing. People look at me and think I'm prim and proper. I'm outdoorsy. I like to camp, fish, anything outside, nature, and all of it. And so anything in nature I mean, I've seen the Grand Canyon, and I've lived in Saudi Arabia, and we would go out on the escarpment. You could stand way up high on the escarpment in Saudi Arabia, and you could look out, and there were red sand dunes. The sand out in the desert around Riyadh it was red. They had three colors of sand. They had the red sand, the kind of a whitish sand, and then a brown sand, and they were all different, and they came from different areas. But the red sand dunes, they were phenomenal. But that's just I'm that way. So Yvonne says, I hope y'all have a good night. Mike said, I would love to go do that someday. Yeah, Niagara Falls. See it from the Canadian side. So Miss M said, our God is an awesome God. He sure is. Everybody's saying bye to Yvonne. Kathleen, you don't know about the frog that could sing and dance for his owner, but when the owner tried to get him to sing in front of the camera, he wouldn't do anything but croak. That's me. But I just kept doing it, and I've gotten a lot more natural on camera. So, Miss M said Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. Hello, my darling. This is what Kathleen said. Kimberly said, yep. All right. Yep, another frog, Miss M. Oh, they do, Mike? Red sand dunes? In the sand of the red sand dunes in Saudi was like cinnamon. It was just this, and of course, during a shamal is what it's called over there, that red sand would just blow everywhere, and you couldn't even see. It just got, it was a sandstorm. Miss M said, my job is done. I made someone laugh. You made me laugh several times. All right. I've been on here an hour and 42 minutes. This may have beaten the time of my birthday live. But like I said, once again, I enjoy doing these. I always get a laugh. I love my community. I appreciate y'all so much for your support and everything that y'all do. So you make my life better. I hope each of you have a good rest of their week, and I will see y'all. There's sand dunes there. All right. So somebody's going to have to send me a link to the frog in Bugs Bunny, because I don't have a clue. I might have lived 72 years, but you see, there's still things I need to learn. So let me leave it with y'all. Be you on purpose.